Stevie, you gave him the highest grade.
An A, absolutely. Listen, every team, I think there's only one team on the planet that expects to win the Champions League, and that's Real Madrid.
You don't think City expected to win it this year after winning it last year?
How many teams in
They were the odds makers' favourite.
How many teams in history have won back-to-back Champions Leagues?
Well, not many. Yeah.
Right, and there's a reason for that, because it's hard. Every single team at the start of the season in the Premier League, and I'm talking about the bigger boys and the realistic boys that have got a chance of winning it, that has to be the goal and the only goal. Our goal this year is to win the Premier League. Now, are City getting close to a position where that's not enough? I don't think they're there yet. So it has to be an A. The goal has to be winning the Premier League, and they accomplished that. If they'd won the Champions League, then it's not a bonus, but they're not in that realm yet, where they're Real Madrid, where they have to win the Champions League. They're not.
Stevie, don't you think that with the squad that they have, the team that they have, it should be for them an easiest way to win the Premier League, where at the point during the season they were third behind Arsenal and Liverpool because they were kind of sleeping, I would say, comparing to the ability and the quality that they have inside the group. It's only when they woke up in December that they showed their talent. It's why I'm being a little bit harsh, because we are talking about consistency. We are talking about what they do throughout the season, not at the end of the season. But at the beginning, from July to December, it was a quality-wise season. And after, it became fantastic. But from City, you can ask for a complete season.
Frank wants strawberries, cream, bit of diced chocolate on the... Frank wants all kinds on the top. And listen, anybody who's ever won the league, anybody, including your team, Frank, at Chelsea, when they won the league, we'd all love to win it by playing silky soccer week in, week out, winning in a canter. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's smiling. The goal is to win. The goal is to win it. And if you win it, you deserve an A. All the other stuff is the strawberries and the ice cream and
icing
all the
on
other
the cake,
stuff.
as they say. Hey, Nedum, if we spin this forward to next season, what's your biggest worry about Manchester City?
I think there's a pretty big hearing in October. You've got some players like De Bruyne who are essentially being linked with moving elsewhere. We're probably going to have the Bernardo Silva saga this summer about is he going to go to Barcelona or is he not for the third, fourth year in a row. So I suppose it's more so about transition. You know, their squad, they do have some young players in there, but they do have some older ones as well. And if some of those older ones do leave, then that's a significant part of the team leaving again in the same way last year it was Mahrez, it was Gundogan. Like, what happens if a De Bruyne leaves as well? You know, the years before, you're looking at Zinchenko's, looking at Jesus's, Aguero's. You know, these are tons of really significant players, whether they're for the squad or starters for the team as such. So I think they are drifting towards transition, not least of all if it's true that Guardiola is potentially in his last season for the club as well. Talk about, like, key figures leaving, like we saw with Jurgen Klopp this year. Well, what would it mean for, say, Pep Guardiola to leave through his tenure as well? So, yes... But I have to say, though, what Stevie said, I think, has hit the nail on the head, because I think if you compare the conversations around Man City versus, say, Man United win the FA Cup and they're saying, yeah, but they're 30 points off being top in the Premier League. They're a team that are in a transition. Whereas for City, they did lose that final, but they know that fundamentally they've got a strong base there because that's what's allowed them the chance to be top of the league for the fourth year in a row. So I think there's obviously going to be some level of stability there. Can they go again? It's going to be very, very difficult because, you know, if we never saw someone do it 4 times before now, what chance of seeing it 5 times? But they seem like foundationally a pretty set football club who are thinking about the future as such. So I'm not overly concerned, but, you know, it's a long summer, so who knows?
Nedum mentions there Kevin De Bruyne. He's been talking a little bit about Saudi Arabia, potentially a move there. He's 32 years old. Are we at a point, you think, where City can afford, with like a Phil Foden, to move away from De Bruyne or no?
I don't think you would choose to move away from a De Bruyne, but I think it depends. It really depends on the philosophy of your club and your manager. And the manager has always said, I don't want players here that don't want to be here. And if that's the case, which I believe it is, then I think I said it last week, you're in a position where you can get money for a guy who's 32, and clearly he's thinking about moving on. Now, is that what you want? You know, Nedum's talking about can they go 5 in a row? Well, if you're going to do that, you need everybody to be clued in, focused in to the job in hand. And when you've got Kevin De Bruyne kind of opening the door, that tells you where his mind is. And now I would suggest that that's not 100% of becoming a player who's part of a team that wins the Premier League 5 years in a row.